Okay, this is a little help for page 14 of Carter, and to start we have to go back to 13, and the last bit of 13 was leperoteroi egignonto. They came out sleeker. So we're talking about this magical spring that the Ethiopians have, which looks like water but may well be magical in that it has some sort of oily effect on people who wash in it, who bathe in it. And exactly if A is going to appear several times, I think, in the next page or two. Exactly as if, katha, pair, A. Exactly as if the spring, krene, were is going to be the first word of the next page, of oil. So it's not a spring of water, it's a spring of oil. Let's go to page 14. So there is air, which you can see isn't mentioned at all, but that's the subjunctive form of the verb to be. You don't need to worry about that at all, as I keep repeatedly saying. Don't worry about subjunctives. In Greek there's something else called optatives, but we don't need to mention them at all or we can mention them, but we don't need to worry about them. I think strictly that's the optative form of the verb to be, but they function more or less as the same. Okay, so they come out sleeker as if the spring were of oil. I'm a bit rusty with this, so okay. And oze. Well, I wonder if people know that this is the verb to smell, as we can see at the bottom. Ozo, to smell. We get ozone from that because apparently ozone has a pungent smell. And there is a smell, aphautes, from it, as if, ion. Now, ion, the sharper amongst you might remember, could be the present participle of the verb to go. So on, usa on, is being, but ion, iusa, ion, is going. However, annoyingly, it's the genitive plural of the word for violet. So violets, flowers that must be pleasantly smelling, and it doesn't smell of oil. This spring, it smells of flowers. So that's another quality that it has that is surely magical. The spring appears to be of water, but it's actually of some sort of oily substance. And it doesn't have an oily smell, it has a beautiful flowery smell. Okay, I think what we've got to do now, because that's the end of a sentence, is find the subject. So there they are the spies. The spies said, what did they say? And although Greek doesn't need accusative infinitive like Latin, it can have it. And here's an example. The scouts said, the water of this spring then back to line 94, to be. I've got to include this word tit on its own can mean something. When it's after a noun, it isn't after a noun here, it's after the word indeed. Or it's after the word huto, which means so. But it's not after a noun. If it's after a noun, it can mean a or a certain. But on its own, it can mean something. So, the scouts, the spies, said the water of this spring to be indeed, if you want to include dare, something so asthenes, so weak that. Greek grammar is easy. It's negligible. You don't have to worry about it. Hina, we met recently, meaning in order to. If you see hina, you've got a purpose clause. If you've got, let's see if I can remember how to write. Oh, yes, I can. I can write badly. If you see hina, it means, look at this, wow. It means but, as in purpose, to buy some bread. If you see hoster, it's definitely result clause. So the scouts said the water of this spring to be something, indeed something so weak that merden, that nothing to be able. So after hoster, you can have an indicative normal verb. You can have a sort of accusative infinitive, which you've got here, or you can have a subjunctive, as in Latin. So but it doesn't matter what you've got. You just need to know hoster is a result clause. That nothing, literally, to be able to float on it. Epi plus the genitive of the pronoun. Remember, you saw earlier, didn't you? Autes, that's the feminine, because the spring, krene, is feminine, so autes is the genitive feminine. Apo becomes af before autes. It doesn't actually have to be af, it could be ap, but anyway, we've got af. Af autes, from it. Ep autu, on it. So nothing was able to float, literally to sail. That's what pleo means, the verb to sail. I suspect that's in your vocab. Mer des Zulon. Oh dear, how embarrassing. This hopeless machine. Where are we now? Let's get back. Okay. Neither would. Nobody's going to believe this, but actually, if the laptop is plugged in, it means the cursor just goes mental. Anyway, I'll do my best. And apparently that is a thing. But if I take it out, the laptop crashes, so bear with me. Neither would. Xylophone, by the way, is using this word to construct itself. Merta zulon, merta, nor such things as are. By the way, I'm doing my best here, but notice it sort of goes crazy all over the page, as if It's following an erratic heartbeat or something. Nor hosa, as many. Hosos means as many as, and it's neuter plural. Nor as many things as are. Hosa is neuter plural, so it takes a singular verb. We mentioned that recently. As are elaphrotera. Oteros, more, or Otatos, most, or est. So as many things as are lighter than wood. Because in Greek you can have a genitive of comparison, something we touched on last year. So nothing can float on it, neither wood nor whatever is lighter than wood. Nothing can float on water. So a feather, for example, is lighter than wood, but it won't float on this magical spring. It will just sink to the bottom. In fact, they go on to say that. Alla panta, but all things go, koreo, important verb, another verb that means to go, and may well be in your GCSE vocab. Alla panta, but all things go to the bottom, bithon. They go to the floor of this spring. Everything sinks. Feathers, bits of straw, leaves, anything you like. Wood certainly doesn't float, and all the things that are even lighter than wood doesn't float. And because of this water, if it is truly something, hoios means such as is said, because of this, an, if you see an ever, you need to use the English word would, W-O-U-L-D. They would be, and because of this, they would be long-lived. So the dia tuto stresses or echoes the dia tohudo tuto. And because of this word, if it truly is such as is said, look at legatai. Keep thinking about deponents, middles. So lego I say, legamai, I am said. Legamai, lege, legatai, legomatha, legestha, legontai. Keep saying it to yourself. Very important endings. Ace panta. And he's going to go on to say, using it for all things. Ace panta, for all things. So this is the secret to their longevity, to their 120 years plus. It's this spring, says Herodotus. Okay, enough for page 14.